Your body keeps the score. And if you forgot how that score of your body sounds, you probably feel dissociated. You feel like you can't fully enjoy your life. You feel like something is fundamentally wrong, and maybe even like you're not really here. You're not living an embodied experience. You're maybe feeling alienated. Like everything is sort of distant, like sort of dissociated from you. And what I want to talk about in this video today, what I want to guide you through, are 5 somatic entry points that serve like as a gate towards a more embodied experience, that are like doorways that you can walk through in order to establish a more peaceful and more safe relationship with your body and with being alive. So I would say, let's dive right in. This will be like a very practical video. I will take you through like some exercises here and there. And what I want is like to literally walk you through the different gates that I want to open for you now, and to have like an immediate experience of what I'm talking about. I think that's a good thing. So let's start out with the breath. The breath is the first somatic entry point, the first somatic gateway. Why is that? So we're breathing basically our whole life. Like if we're not breathing, we are basically dead. We're not alive. So that breath equals aliveness. And you've probably heard of various techniques, like for example, holotropic breathing, like several breathwork techniques, or like yogic breathing techniques that are altering the way you're breathing. But today I want to talk about something very different. And for that, I want to like invite you to close your eyes for a bit. You can also leave your eyes open if that's more suitable for your situation right now. So close your eyes, and I want to invite something in. Like when it comes to emotional release and somatic work, we're often utilizing the breath to change our state, to either create more safety or more activation. What I want to invite you into right now is to let your breath breathe the way it wants to simply observe that. Let your breath breathe the way it wants to. And what I want to invite in at the same time is a sense of curiosity. Can you be curious? Not investigative in a sense of I need to find out what my breath is about and things like this, but can you be curious in exploring the different areas that your breath is affecting? Is there an emotion that is connected with your breath? Like when you notice your breath is a bit shallow. Is there sadness or shame when you tune into your breath? So what we're doing here is we're simply relating to the breath. We're not trying to alter it. We're not trying to find any meaning within it. We're trying to be a recipient of our breath. We're trying to open the doors so the sensation of our breath can flow into our consciousness and we can create a relationship with it. Simply being here. So why is this a somatic gateway? First of all, your breath is vital for your experience. It's like the heady answer. But on a very practical and very embodied level, your breath is speaking to you. It's almost like your breath is containing a message. If you're afraid, that affects your breath. If you're angry, that affects your breath. Even unconsciously. If you're unconsciously angry, that affects your breath. If you're sad, if you feel grief, if you feel shame, all of that is affecting your breath. So let's tune into like the emotional field of the breath through relating to it and just letting it breathe the way it wants to. And then seeing if an emotion is coming up. And then ask yourself, can I allow this emotion to be here right now? Can I start to relate to that emotion? Can I simply be with it without changing anything? can I let the emotion, which is energy in motion, flow in the way it wants to flow? It needs to flow. Can I simply witness that? So maybe you are seeing a little pattern that will stretch out through the length of the video, which is relationship. We are learning to relate to the breath. And through the breath, we learn to relate to our emotions because they are connected. So that brings me to the second point, the second somatic gateway, the second entry point, which is your voice. So there's two things I want to talk about when it comes to the voice. The first is that you can use your voice to create a relationship with your body and sort of to modulate it so it's easier for you to relate it. And the way we do that is we're giving whatever emotion is here an expression. So if you feel anger, for example, you might do something like you're breathing in, something like that, or you might even like grab a pillow and you might scream into the pillow. If it's sadness, for example, again, use the breath. And what you do is you're trying to bridge the gap between performing and actual like emotional expression. Sometimes the emotions like need a little kick or need like a little kickstart in order to fully reveal themselves. So what we're doing here is not performing, but we're sensing into the emotion and we ask ourselves, how would that emotion sound like if it were to express itself? And you breathe in and you breathe out with the sound the emotion would make. So for example, I feel quite peaceful in this moment. And for me, it would sound like something like that. And immediately you can tell like something is amplified here. I feel really joyous and present. My mind says I'm happy about recording this video. I feel super bubbly. And what happens is the emotion gets amplified, like a guitar amplifier. Like you see these like big stacked amplifiers that musicians have on stage. They are making the guitar louder. They are increasing the signal so the whole crowd can hear it. So what we're doing here is very similar. We're trying to amplify the emotion because through amplifying, through growing the emotion, it's easier for us to relate to it. Like if it's like a tiny, tiny bit like this, I can almost not see the emotion, then of course it's like hard to look at the emotion and say, hey, like what's your story? If it gets bigger, then there's a bigger canvas for us to paint on. It's easier to relate like to an emotion. Like if this was a tiny little emotion, it's harder to relate to that than to our entire hand, like this size. I think you get to know what I mean. So that's sound. The second thing is that you can listen, like when it comes to your voice and to your sound, the second somatic gateway, you can listen to the way your voice sounds, because sometimes when we're all tense up, and like our shoulders are shrugged up here, you can sense that something in your voice is like feeling really, really afraid. And yeah, also the tonation of your voice, it feels like I'm defensive and I'm a fucking victim. That makes me sad. So the voice, the tonation, and the melody of our voice can give us a lot of information about our like emotional state. Can I speak like very embodied, like very grounded, like this? I'm overdoing it right now, but what that gives me is like I'm always almost sinking in. I'm like super grounded. Gravity is having its grip, and I'm relaxing into it. So again, what we're doing here is we're checking in with our voice, we're noticing our voice, and through the voice, we're entering the relational field with our emotions. That's what we're doing here. So the third somatic gateway, the third entry point is posture and movement. Like this is a very straightforward one. Of course, like if you sense an emotion, if something is coming up within you, And again, an emotion, energy in motion, your body naturally like wants to do something. But even if you feel like you can't fully allow that emotion, you feel like some tension around it, what I want to invite you into is amplifying that as well. Amplifying the tension you feel. For example, if you're like super ashamed and you feel like, no, I don't want this. No, I don't want this. No. Amplify it. Make it bigger. Make it bigger. Give it full permission to be here. Again, we're creating permission. We're creating relationship. We're creating a connection between you and the feeling. So amplify whatever is there. Like if there's a surge of anger within you, maybe you feel a sense of strength with your anger. Or maybe you notice yourself like looking down and you're feeling all ashamed. And maybe if you extend that, when I would leave the camera if I'd extend that fully, but it's something like, no, I don't want to. Then like sadness comes up and it's like, I'm using the sound to amplify that again. And you can tell like this sets you off on some sort of like it's really a journey, to be honest. You know, if you do these, like if you use these 5 entry points, for example, in an exercise, it can become quite a journey. And also these entry points are all interrelated. Like this is not a like you first do this, then this, then this. Like there's no hierarchy here or like path you need to follow. These are interrelated. These are all like if you make this a practice or if you use that with clients, these are all different gateways that are interrelated. Like, for example, you in one moment you might use the voice, the sound, and then you might feel like your body is doing this, and then you focus more on the embodied expression and no. And then, you know, you might use the breath and you notice what your breath is doing and things like this. Yes. So the fourth point, the fourth gate, the fourth somatic entry point into your body is sensation. Again, very straightforward. Like all of these things that I'm talking about today are very simple, but they're not necessarily easy. Like there's a difference between something being simple and straightforward and it being easy. Because something can be simple and hard at the same time, right? I can simply notice my body, but there can be a lot of tension that I have a hard time allowing into. So again, this is like pretty straightforward, but if you follow along, you might feel that it can be actually quite challenging. So sense into your body. And the way you do this is there's one really nice question that also like raises a whole, like, I don't know, to me, this question is super fascinating. And it is raise your hand or put your hand like in front of your face. Raise it up. And then with your eyes closed, ask yourself, how do I know my hand is here? Your eyes can see your hand, so there's no visual proof for your hand to be here. But somewhat, you have like an inner knowing. You have like a sensation, like we call it interoception, that you have like in your hand. And how does it feel like to have a hand right now? And when you can sense your hand, like maybe you can sense your whole body, and then you notice that you have like this vibrating, shimmering, cascading flow of sensations within you. That at some points in your body, maybe not so strong, at some points it may be stronger. Usually when we create tension, that stream is halted in these areas. For example, I just had tension in my face here. I'm softening it, and I allow this shimmering flow to emerge in my face. So this is the next entry point, and it's a really important one because if we if we're in touch, if we relate to that inner flow of feeling, inner flow of like shimmering presence of your embodiment, then we can start to fine-tune the relationship that we have towards emotions, because our emotions are happening within that shimmering field that we just discovered. Usually your emotions are happening like in the space between your lower stomach and your upper chest. This is usually where people find emotions. Like sometimes you also, feel stuff in your hips, for example. Sometimes people claim to feel sadness in their feet, things like this. This might be more symbolic, but you get what I mean. Like, through creating a relationship with that interoception, with that sensational gateway that I just talked about, if we step through that, and the more time we spend in that room we stepped into, the easier it will be to relate to our emotions. Simple as that. And again, it's simple, but not easy. Because usually that's also why I think like mindfulness, it always sounds like, yeah, you're relieving stress and it's like super simple. Like if you take that seriously, if you really would focus and build a relationship with the tensions within you, you would feel that there's quite some difficulty around doing that, because usually we have resistance towards certain feelings and towards certain tensions in our body. And then mindfulness is not simply like sitting on your meditation cushion. It's becoming conscious of the war that is going on within ourselves, of our shadows, of all the parts that we've been neglecting within us. And this is all also happening within that relational, sensational field that we have in our body, that we live in. And again, it's all about relationship. It's all about building a relationship with that. So the fifth gate that I want to talk about is kind of controversial and kind of out there. And I want to take some time to speak on that because to me, that's really, really fascinating. So Ken Wilber talked about the subtle body. And the subtle body is not just an embodied phenomena, so to speak. It's also happening on a symbolic level in your imagination. And this is the next entry point that I want to talk about. And it's super, super powerful. And also, understanding this is so useful. Like if you're already working with clients or if you're like working on yourself, this is really amazing and it's fascinating and it's, yeah, there's like a lot of joy in me, like when I talk about it, it's like a lot of fascination. It's one of my favorite topics I want to talk about. So when you sense into your body, you have a feeling. Maybe you can feel, depending on how connected you are to your imagination, maybe you can feel that an image is rising up or a metaphor is rising up towards whatever you're feeling. For example, I feel, I don't know, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this joyous feeling in me right now, and it feels like shimmering, and I have this golden light that comes with it. And then I could say, I feel like I'm bathing in golden light. And at the same time, maybe you're feeling contraction right now, like, see, what image is this contraction bringing up within you? And if it doesn't, then you can ask for an image to come up. Like, please, like, bring up an image for me. Or you can, like, do it in the realm of words and you can play with metaphors. Oh, it feels like I'm behind a wall and I cannot perceive anything. I feel like I'm trapped. I feel like I'm flaming with rage, like I'm burning. Oh, this sensation in my stomach, it's burning me, it's so hot. And maybe you can start imagining the flames and relate in that way. So what I'm talking about is a symbolic embodied realm. Like usually, also when I'm working with clients, with the sensation, usually a metaphor comes up or a symbolic image. And here's the fascinating thing, when we start working with the symbolic image, seemingly like in their heads, simultaneously something starts happening on the sensational, like within the fourth entry point. So we work on the symbol in the head, we start relating to that, we start asking questions. Like there's several ways you can do that, and I will record another video on it because it's like a lecture in of itself. Again, it's all about relationship. So you're sensing that, whatever you're feeling, that metaphor, and then you can feel into, how does it feel to be behind that wall? And you can ask that wall, like, what are you protecting me from? What is your story? That's one thing you can do. You can ask questions and get like into a, in German we call it Zwiegespräch, like a conversation with that feeling, with that thought, with that symbolic image. It's the first thing you can do. And the second thing, which is even more fascinating, is to simply observe the flow of images that is created from that with no goal. Like, we're not having like the intention of letting go of anything. We're having the intention of first experience and second of relationship. We want to relate to whatever is going on. We want to be with whatever is going on. And so how are we being with this flow of images in our head? You can imagine you're like relaxed in a cinema and you're watching a movie, and that movie is projected onto of the wall of your imagination. So you're simply watching whatever is going on. You're watching the movie of your inner images unfolding. Carl Jung called this active imagination. And when we do active imagination, it's really important to focus on the experience. Like, really focus on that flow of images. We're not here to solve anything or like to manipulate anything. We are first and foremost here to experience. And the magic thing that is happening then, if we are connected with our imagination up here, with the metaphors and the symbolic images that are produced, while simultaneously like alternating between body and image and body and image, then the relationship is deepening. And you will be surprised and fascinated with what comes up if we simply observe the flow of inner images like it was a movie. It's pretty, like, to me, it's absolutely fascinating. It has this magical, spiritual quality to me. And I want to invite you into that. That's the next, like the last gateway that I want to talk about today. Like the connection between your body and the symbols that are in your head. And with these 5 entry points, if you like combine them, like if you have a practice for yourself, like an embodiment practice, or if you're working with clients and you simply like remember these 5 entry points, you can have a really, really powerful process. And what happens to that process is you're making the capacity to be with whatever is showing up bigger. What we want to do here is we want to create capacity. We want to create relationship. We want to step into a relational field. And all of these, you can almost like imagine the relational field, like literally as a little field, and there's like doors around the field. And the 5 entry points that I talked about today are the doors that lead you into that relational field. It's all about creating a relationship, relating to yourselves, being with yourselves, and creating a vessel for whatever wants to experience itself and wants to express itself to be there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. I have this whole like 30 video complete guide on emotional release work, which this is a part of it, what I just talked about. I'm really excited